Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Lulabelle H Knitting Podcast. My name is Paula and I live south of Edinburgh with my husband and my cat, Peppy. Peppy is out and he's been out for a few hours. He loves the warm weather and so he could come back at any second. Sometimes he brings friends with him, but I have a special tin that I catch the friends in, and then if I can release them back into the wild. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. So today I have 5 finished objects. I've been knitting a lot, and 2 whips. Yeah, I've been knitting a lot. Sometimes I feel a bit almost like rabid about knitting. I feel like I'm in a frenzy and I just want to cast on and knit the next thing, and I get so far on a project. Usually I get as far as I'm happy knitting the yoke, and then when I split for sleeves then I just want it to be finished, but obviously then I have to knit the body and the sleeves, but anyway, yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and yeah, like I say, in a bit of a frenzy about it. And I'm having to stop myself from buying new wool as well. In fact, I put some Aran into my online basket yesterday to re-knit two of my finished objects that I've got to show you today. And then I suddenly thought, hold on, I think I might have some of that in stash already. And I went and I actually need 8 balls of it, and I have 7 balls. Anyway, so had to take it out of the basket. Right, so yeah, I'll just get on with it. So my first finished object is the Clover tee. I think in my last episode I showed you that I have lots of summer yarn, Drop Spell and King Cole Linendale. I just went on a buying frenzy and bought lots of all the colours that I like. So I've just been making my way through the colours. This is the Clover tee by Lene, Holme, Samsøe. I've knitted it twice before, I think. And this is Drop Spell and it's ruby red and it's size small. So I've shown this before. I don't know if you can see the pattern if I hold it close. I'll insert a photo. It's fairly unremarkable. This is the top, the pattern that fits me the best. Just, I don't know, it just fits me everywhere. The drape is really good. The body is knitted on a size 4mm needle, and that seemed to give the best drape for this yarn. So yeah, I haven't worn it yet. I will start wearing it now. But yeah, I'm putting a little kind of tag at the back just so that I can tell which is the back. Even though I do have short rows shaping at the back to raise the neck. But I think because I've knitted it a couple of times, there's not really much more to say about it. It's fairly unremarkable, but it's a really effective and comfortable and impressive garment, I think. Yeah, I really like it. So that's my Clover tee. I've been really looking for other summer t-shirts to knit, because I think, like I said, I think that's the 3rd time I've knitted the Clover tee. And I do really like it and it fits really well, but I don't want to keep knitting the same thing. You know, I want different patterns. Yeah, I've been looking at other, so I think Lene Holme Samsøe is a great summer t-shirt designer. I've been looking at is it the Tulipin tee and the Palm tee. I've said it before, I do there's something about them that's just not quite me. They're a bit too perfect. There's something too perfect about them. I might be tempted by the Palm tee because I might really need to knit something different, and I'll still have about 6 or 7 garments worth of summer yarn left, so I am going to have to find another summer tee. I've also been thinking about the Petite Knit anchor tee. Just not sure. And the Tulsa tee. So I have the Tulsa tee pattern, and I really like. There's some versions that I really like with the loops. I'll insert a photo. So I've been thinking about doing that in the spruce colour that I have of King Cole Linendale. Yeah, I don't know. I just want a really impressive other t-shirt design. Anyway, today I'm wearing, so I've got this is my Evendoon cardigan on, which I wear my Evendoons all the time. But this t-shirt, I'm not going to stand up. It's just it's actually a kind of top that I sewed a few years ago. And I think it's a simplicity pattern. It's a top and a dress pattern. I've made it in both. I've made about 3 or 4 versions of the top and a couple of versions of the dress. And it's such an easy, covers everything t-shirt. I like this material. I got this material from is it Anglian Fashion Fabrics. When I lived in Norwich, I walked around the corner from Anglian Fashion Fabrics. So I'd often wander in there at lunchtime just to look at something nice, and I just really like this embroidery, you know, spaced out over the. I quite like this khaki colour as well. So yeah. So I keep meaning to show you the skirt stuff. So I haven't done any sewing for ages. I've just got out of the habit. Yeah, I should, and I've got a cupboard full. This dresser, the bottom cupboard is full of fabric that I really like. But yeah, I'll get back into it at some point, I'm sure. I'm just really into knitting at the minute. Okay, so my second finished object is the Ida tee by Petite Knit. I've knitted, I always knit the size small in every pattern I knit. It's knitted in drop spell forest brown and off-white. The off-white was left over from when I knitted Karen's Tulsa tank, I think. I haven't woven in the ends. I've actually just sewn down the collar, which has been waiting to be sewn down, knitted and sewn down knitted down, because you knit and bind off at the same time, the collar. It's been waiting to be done for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I knew I was going to have to YouTube how to do it again. I couldn't quite remember. And it was simple. It took 10 minutes. But I haven't woven in the ends, as you can see. But the Ida tee, it's quite heavier. I can't remember, is that a 3.5mm needle it's knitted on? I think it might be. So it feels denser than the Clover tee, but it's such a nice pattern to knit, and it's, every time I look at it, it kind of catches my breath because it's just so striking and impressive. I really like it. So this is the third Ida tee I have knitted. I have the yarn to knit 2 more, one in purple with a green stripe and one in, this is a mad purchase, one in yellow with a raspberry stripe. I don't know if I'll ever get around to that. I've been trying to think what else I could use the yellow for. It's a drop spell brightest, lightest yellow. It's not really my colour. But I'm tempted to see what it looks like knitted up into an Ida tee, so I might just cast it on. Anyway, like I say, I've thought about knitting the Ida tee into like a long sleeve jumper. It's DK, and I have seen a jumper version and I really liked it, so I have thought about knitting it into a winter jumper version. Yeah. Again, I mean, nothing much to say about it except I really like it. So I'll sew in the ends after I finish recording today. My third finished object. So it's finished. It's just a tiny bit more finished than it was the last time I showed it to you. It still hasn't got its buttons on, but I have found the buttons. And they're really, the buttons were the starting point for the whole project, and they're just lovely. Part of the reason I haven't put the buttons on yet is I ordered small transparent buttons to go on the back, because sometimes I find, you know, when you get that, when you sew a button on and you get that kind of pulling out, lumpy pulling out, because it's not, there's nothing stopping it from pulling out on the back. So I thought if I put a clear button on the back, that will hold the button better in place of the front. That's what I'm hoping anyway. That's my plan. So the buttons should be arriving this afternoon. So when I get the buttons, I will put the buttons on. Maybe I'll wear this next time just so that you can see the final thing. But I do love it. It's Kate Davies' Evendoon cardigan. I've knitted so many versions, 8 or 9 versions in different colours, different yarns. This is Viking Yarn DK Alpaca Storm, and it's really beautiful. I think I'm tempted, I'll see how it wears, because I am tempted to buy more of this yarn. It's so soft and feels really nice drape, and yeah, it's really nice. So it is blocked. I blocked it on a day when it was really warm. I think it was last weekend. It was really warm. I had washing on the line, and I washed it and pinned it to the, well, I didn't pin it actually, I just laid it out in the blocking mats in the living room where it's cool and not warm at all. And then I thought I'll be brave and I'll just dry it outside, and it dried in an afternoon. It was so quick. So I was really happy with that actually. I turned it inside out because I was a bit concerned that it might get bird poo dropped on it. And at least if it was on the inside, I could just turn it the right way around again and nobody would see the bird poo, which I would obviously wash off as well. But yeah, it didn't get any bird poo on it, and so I'm just looking forward to getting buttons on. I've been thinking I could do with a new cardigan pattern as well, and I've looked at the usual Petite Knit cardigans. I do like the Evendoon. It's such a great pattern, but I should really try to knit a different kind of cardigan. I like the finish as well. I like the button band. I like the I-cord buttonholes. Yeah, I just like the Evendoon. It's served me well actually, all my different versions. So that's kind of finished. It's more finished than it was last time. I think I've been showing this cardigan for about, I don't know, the whole time I've been recording, because I've had it the whole time. So my last 2 finished items, which I hadn't even started the last time, and so I'm finally in the Ranunculus gang. I've been looking at, every time I see the Ranunculus by, so it's the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose, which is a very, 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 very popular knitting pattern. And every time I see the Ranunculus on Instagram, again, it just kind of catches my attention, and I like every version I see. It's a pattern that when it was first published, it was published as a really oversized pattern that you could knit in any yarn, so from fingering or lace weight to Aran or bulky, I think. And so obviously, you know, the finished garment changed dramatically depending on the type of yarn you used. Any fingering weight garment was very gapey, obviously, because it's all knitted on the same 6mm needles. But then she updated the pattern a few years ago, I think, to give different sizes. I can't remember how many sizes there are now. I knitted size 1 for both of the finished objects I have, and yeah, it's been an interesting. I was put off from starting the Ranunculus because I think there's something like 15 pages of instructions. So when I was about to cast on a new summer, the first one is, so I've knitted two, the first one is summer garment and the second one is a winter garment. When I was about to cast on a summer garment, I wanted that quick cast on, that quick dopamine satisfaction, payback, but then I thought so I had this golden rod colour in drop spell, and I thought it would look really good as a ranunculus, so I persevered. And actually it's no wonder it's so popular, and it's no wonder, because I did think if so many people have knitted the ranunculus, it can't be that difficult. I mean, I'm a really good knitter, I'm really competent, I'm not phased by any of it. And sure enough, I had to YouTube the cast on method. I'll talk about the first one first. So for the summer version, I cast on using the tubular cast on, exactly as the pattern says, which is you do a provisional cast on. So I did a crocheted provisional cast on. You'd need to buy the pattern anyway, so I'm not giving away anything by saying you do a provisional cast on, and then you cast on a certain number of stitches, then you do a yarn over every second stitch, and then you finish knitting the neckband, the rib at the neck, and then you pull the provisional cast on out and the neck expands, which was really good fun. Yeah, and the whole thing didn't unravel. So here is my, I have woven in the ends, but obviously not the armhole ends. Yeah, so here is my summer ranunculus. So it's DK. You can see it's quite drapey, knitted on 6mm needles. It's quite gappy, and when I was knitting it, I wasn't sure if it was going to be too gappy to wear without a vest underneath. But in the meantime, I got some little kind of bralette tops from Sainsbury's actually, and there were a set of 3, and that's enough to have underneath. You can't see through, you can see through a little bit. When I was wearing a normal bra, some of the holes were showing my cleavage, my boobs, but with the bralette it's completely fine. So yeah, I did the short row shaping at the back and the front. I tried to follow, until I split for sleeves, I followed the pattern as it was in the pattern. And when I split for sleeves, I decided to just do the bottom. I didn't want a big ribbed hem like it was advising in the pattern. So again, it's so adaptable that I could have just done stop the sleeves at the split for sleeves, done a rib. The hem also, I think it's like an I-cord binding or hem, which I didn't do because I've done so many raglan tops. I just decided to have a small rib at the bottom and a small rib at the sleeve. So yeah, because I haven't knitted anything this scappy before. It's such a light gauge because it's DK on 6mm needles. It's not a very dense, it's quite an open fabric. And there have been times, I do really like it, there have been times where I've looked at it and thought, especially the neckband for some reason, even though I do like the effect, but there have been times I've looked at the neckband and thought, does it look really scrappy? And not, like, none of my other finished knitted items look untidy. But I did wonder if this looked a bit untidy, especially at the neck band. Don't know. Anyway, I haven't worn it yet, but I will. I'm looking forward to wearing it, and yeah, I'm really happy to be on, to have knitted a ranunculus. All of the yoke, it's such a lot of fun doing these pull throughs. I did have to, so there in the pattern there's a whole lot of videos to show you the different techniques, but actually I only just needed the provisional cast on crochet technique and the pull through technique, which only because I wasn't sure where I was counting the first stitch from. I understood what the instructions said, but I wasn't sure which gap to pull through from, but that was quickly cleared up. Yeah, so I really like it. I do. It's a fascinating pattern. Yeah, so that's my summer ranunculus. And also this, I knitted the yoke of this in 2 days, a day and a half. It was so quick to knit. I mean, it's size 6mm needles, but it's so quick to knit up. And I think the whole thing took a week, tops, maybe less than a week. Likewise with the winter one I have, even the winter one the yoke took a couple of days, a day and a half. And yeah, the whole thing, I think it was about a week ago that I cast it on. Maybe not even a week ago, it might be like 4 or 5 days. I should say I am on annual leave at the minute, so I have been off work since last Thursday. I work part-time, so I've been off work since Thursday, and it's Tuesday now, and so yeah, I have had more knitting time than when I'm having to go to work. But yeah, so this is the my winter ranunculus. You can see this. So it's knitted in West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab Aran. Oh, Peppy! Oh, hold on, I'll just have to get Peppy in the window. Hello. Hello. Where have you been? Are you okay? You coming in? I'm just gonna get Peppy's lunch. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay. So Peppy is eating. He'll likely jump up on the table and knock everything over. But anyway, we'll deal with that if that happens. So ranunculus, yeah. So I haven't blocked it yet. Sorry, the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab Aran 100% wool, gunmetal grey. When I was knitting all the summer projects, I was really craving, and partly it might be because of the weather. I do like certain things about summer, but it's probably my least favourite season. I like the fact that I can dry washing outside and not have to think about it, and I like growing stuff as well. We have an allotment, and so I like that we can grow stuff and get the yield from that. Yeah, I'm much more of a autumn, spring and then winter. So I was really, after knitting some of my summer tops, I was really craving to do a quick winter knit. And this, I never knit grey because grey is just not my colour at all, except I do, when I saw this, it was the colour that jumped out to me because I was really craving that stormy, yeah, just that kind of stormy, being inside on a stormy day feeling. So here it is. It's called Gunmetal Grey, but I kind of think of it as Storm Grey. Yeah, so I've still got to block it. I'm going to block it today and put it outside because it's a nice day today again. It feels like it might drop a bit on the body length. I knitted the sleeves just a bit longer, so they come probably just to the beginning of my thumb. I think they come to about here, which is nice and cozy. And I did the short row shaping on the back, but omitted the short row shaping on the front. By doing short row shaping on the front, it gives it more of a boat neck, and I didn't want so much of a boat neck. I also thought about, so even I did a normal tubular cast on, so I didn't do the provisional crochet cast on. I just did I went straight to the number of stitches for the end of the rib, and yeah, and but it's still a bit wide. So for the next one, I've got 2 further winter ranunculuses or ranunculi, I'm not sure, lined up. So for the next one, I was thinking about trying to do fewer stitches, and then because at the end of the actual pattern you add in an extra stitch every 3 stitches, I think, to get it to the number that you need to carry on with the yoke. So I might do a smaller neck rib, and then add in the extra stitch at the end to go into the short row shaping at the back, and then into the yoke. That's what I'm thinking about. I actually initially cast on a smaller amount of stitches, and I couldn't tell because it was on a really short cable. It didn't look like it was going to be wide enough, but I think I'll experiment for next time. Anyway, what else? Yeah, so hey Peppy, are you coming to see everybody? Are you coming, Peppy? Don't just go back out again. Here, Peppy. Oh, he's headed back out again. He's very busy at the minute, Peppy. Peppy loves summer. So usually his habits every day tend to be, he gets up, he goes out, he comes back in for his breakfast, and then when I'm here, or when my husband and I, or one of us or both of us are here, we tend to have the kitchen window open. So he spends the morning bobbing about the garden, kind of coming back and forth, and yeah, just jumping around. And then he just suddenly disappears, and then we never know when we're going to see him again, usually when he gets hungry. But there have been some long days where he's just disappeared. There was one, was it last weekend? My husband was in Austria and I was here by myself. So my husband tried to prepare me for the fact that he's a boy cat and he'll disappear for longer periods than our girl cat did, used to. Yeah, so, and I'm getting more used to it now. But so last weekend, husband was in Austria. Peppy had been, the last time I'd seen him was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He had his lunch, went out, And then it got to about 9 o'clock at night, and usually if he's not in by 9 o'clock at night, I know we're in for a long haul, an all-nighter. But the longest he's been out before is 2:30 in the morning, and that only happened once. He's usually either in at 9 o'clock at night or midnight. So I went to bed and I finally managed to fall asleep at midnight. We've got cameras in the house, so I put the kitchen camera on motion detection so that I would be alerted when he came in. Managed to fall asleep at midnight, and then woke up at 1:30, realised I hadn't had any motion alert, and had a bit of a panic about where he was and what he was doing and was he okay. And anyway, it took me a long time to calm myself down from that, because I just love him. And so finally managed to, well, I don't think I did get back to sleep. I was lying down, and part of the time I was looking at the kitchen camera, even though I had motion detection on. I was just watching the kitchen anyway. At 4:30 in the morning I needed a pee, so I got up and it was beginning to get light. It was raining as well. So I was thinking he must be like sheltered by a tree or in the outbuildings or something. So yeah, 4:30, it was beginning to get light. I got up for a pee, and I just happened to look out the front window, which looks down the drive, and I saw what I thought was him running alongside the hedge near the chicken coop. So I went downstairs in my pyjamas and my dressing gown, went out the front with treats to shake at him if I find him, and in the rain, and went to where thought I'd seen him, because he's black and it's dark. Anyway, so I'm getting rained on. I was shouting his name, shaking the trees, and nothing at all. So I did walk down to the end of the drive just because I just wanted to put my mind at rest that he wasn't on the road, and he wasn't, thank goodness. And so anyway, then I just thought, I can't, I'm getting wet and I can't, he's not coming, I can't look, even when I look everywhere for him, he's so well hidden, he never comes out when I shout his name. So I came back in. Actually, by which point when I was in the driveway, my husband sent me a WhatsApp saying, is everything okay? Because he'd also woken up in his hotel room, and so when we put the motion detection on the cameras, it alerts both of our phones. So he'd seen that the motion detection was on, and then he'd looked at the Ring doorbell and saw me wandering up and down the drive in my pyjamas. And so I just explained, Pepe's out and I'm looking for him. So, and my husband was being really reassuring, saying he'll be back soon, go back to bed. So I did go back to bed at 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock in the morning by this point. I think I've had about an hour and a half sleep. Went back to bed, and I just got into bed and I heard, so when he comes in, he meows. He's a tuxedo cat, so he talks a lot, and so he was meowing his little head off. So of course and then my husband sent me a WhatsApp saying that's him back now. So I jumped up and, oh God, I was just so relieved. 5 o'clock is the longest. That was like 16 hours. He has disappeared for 16 hours before but earlier he disappeared about 9 o'clock one morning. So 16 hours, I mean, what's he doing? Where is he? What's he doing? So I was so relieved, and of course I shut the cat flap straight away. Coincidentally and luckily, we have chickens as well, and we have 3 chickens left. That night none of the chickens had gone to bed. One was broody, so was sitting on eggs somewhere, the nest of which I couldn't find, and the 2 others were roosting in a bush at the front of my neighbour's house. And once they're in the bush, I only found where they were roosting because the 3rd chicken, who had gone broody, was hanging around them one night. So luckily none of the chickens were in bed, so I didn't have to get up in the morning to let them out. So Pepe and I went to bed just after 5 and slept until 11, and then I went out went out and found the chickens and gave them their breakfast. Yeah, like I say, I was so relieved when I came home. The chickens are all now off. They're back in the hen house. I think it was maybe just too hot for the two that were roosting in the bush in my neighbour's house. I think it was too warm for them in the hen house. So, and it's a good place to be up at the houses because you know, it's less likely that foxes are going to come up this far. And yeah, the third one that had gone broody, I knew she'd gone broody because she was turning up every 2 or 3 days. We used to have a bantam chicken that went broody, and when they go broody, they go into a kind of trance. They sit on a clutch of eggs and they go into a trance, and when the eggs are fertilised, that's fine because they're doing what they're meant to do by incubating the eggs. But we don't have a cockerel at the minute, and so I knew that none of the eggs would be fertilised. So I spent a few hours walking around trying to find her on her nest to pull her off, because if you have a hen sitting on unfertilised eggs, well, they're not eating properly or drinking properly. You have to break the broody cycle, otherwise they'll sit. It takes 3 weeks for eggs to mature into chicks if they're fertilised, and usually around about day 10 to 14, if the eggs aren't fertilised and a hen is sitting on eggs, they'll kick out the unfertilised egg from the nest because it begins to go off, you know, it begins to rot. So I've seen that before, where you get a clutch of eggs and 5 may be fertilised and 1 or 2 aren't. The ones that aren't get kicked out because they've gone bad. So I thought it might take about 10 to 14 days for her to naturally come off being broody. But it's not good for them to sit too long on a nest because they're not scraping at the ground and walking around. Their nails get long, and yeah, it's just not good. So anyway, I couldn't find her nest, but my neighbour's parents' dog found her nest. So we did discover where she was. So my neighbour, we share the chickens with my neighbours. So my neighbour was on chicken duty last week, so he went and pulled her off her nest and made sure she got to bed. So, and that has broken her broody cycle. So that was a long interlude about cats and chickens. So anything else I need to tell you about my winter ranunculus? Yeah, so I really like the West Yorkshire Spinners. I really like their wool. It's 100% wool. I've knitted a few of my Evendoons in West Yorkshire Spinners DK, and it's held up really well and it doesn't pill much. So partly because I'm just looking for something different, I thought I'd look at their colour range. They've got a really good, the Colour Lab Aran, they have a really good colour range actually, and I did go for this, but I've got my eye on a couple more colours. The only thing that I didn't like about this yarn was I noticed when I had the ball of wool, I just had it on the table when I was knitting. I usually have it in my little wool bowl, but that's being used for something else. So I just had it on the table, and all of this like tiny bits of yarn kind of debris was coming off it. Like, so the whole, where the wool had been sitting, it was covered in just tiny bits of yarn. I'm not explaining it very well. So, and I've never had that with any wool before. I don't know why the wool had so many bits of, yeah, yarn dust attached to it. It was all yarn. It was like tiny millimetre, 2mm bits of yarn. very odd. Like, so I was having to, every time I had knitted, I was having to clean, wet wipe the table because, yeah, just, yeah, odd. So, but I think that's it. So it feels really nice on, it feels really, it still feels like quite a, it's not an open gauge like the summer ranunculus, but it's not a dense fabric. It's not as dense as it could be. If I'd gone down to a 5mm, then it would probably have been right for the yarn. I did think about, like, if I wanted to knit a summer ranunculus in a better gauge, I did think about knitting a bigger size and sizing down the needle. I might do that. Yeah. I love the pattern. But anyway, so that's my winter ranunculus and I love it. So I have two, just taking my time, I have two whips. One I'm not going to show because it's the key sweater in pink and green. I've literally just got the sleeves to knit, but I don't know why. I should just finish it. Anyway, I haven't. So I'm just going to show you one whip, which is my second Noomi Tee. It's in Drops Bell, what is it, Deep Moss? Deep Moss, yeah, Deep Moss, size small. That's how far I've got. Once you get onto the round and round bit, it's just a bit boring. But I love this colour and I love the pattern, so I am looking forward to having it. I really like the pattern, and I love this colour. So I've only been picking this up when I've run out of everything else to do, because I've been enjoying everything else so much. So my next plans, I have just, at the same time as I bought the West Yorkshire Spinners Aran, I bought more yarn to knit a second winter ranunculus. So I bought, it's West Yorkshire Spinners Wool Revival, 100% recycled. That's the first time I've noticed that. British, oh, it's 80% British wool, 20% nylon. I did think if I had any of this left, it would make, I could do matching socks maybe. We'll see. So, and I bought this Drops Kid Silk to hold together. Because this is DK and this is fingering, together they should give me a good gauge for the winter ranunculus. And look at that colour, it's just so, this colour is just amazing. It's so, I think it's called Bark, and it's just such a lovely warm brown, but quite deep as well. And I think this is chocolate kid silk, so I think they'll go really well together. I think I might, as soon as I finish recording, I think I might cast this on. It's July, it's towards the end of July, 21st of July. So I'm really beginning to feel autumnal, or look towards autumn already. Yeah, I think as soon as I finish recording, I'm going to cast this on. But so when I was thinking, because I was looking online and thinking about what other colours, this satisfied an itch, this stormy grey satisfied an itch, but as soon as that was satisfied, I really began to, I've been really craving this colour as well, this burnt orange rust brown. This is Drops Nepal. It's wool and alpaca mix. So, like I say, I had this in my online basket and I put 8 balls in, and then suddenly I thought, hold on, I think I might have a few balls in my stash already. I thought I only had 4 or 5 because I was planning to use this to knit Stockholm Slipover by Petite Knit. So I went looking for the bag and I have 7 balls, which this took up almost 400 grams of the Aran. I think this is a similar meterage, so I think I would need 8 balls. So I would have to order another ball. Yeah. Which should I cast on? They're both lovely. I want to cast them both on and knit them both at the same time. But I also want to knit... Anyway, so I'll finish the story first. So I think I've got an online basket. I've got 1 ball of this in. It will be a different dye lot, but I'll try to put it maybe just both the bottom of the sleeves or something, or maybe use it just for the rib at the bottom. That could work. Somewhere it's not going to be so obvious, depending on, I mean, Drops is quite because it's such a big company. The dye lots aren't usually, they can be, but they're often not that different. They're usually quite uniform, so yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been... I don't know which to cast on now. I want to cast on... I could cast on both of them. I could cast on one and then get it to the yoke where I put it onto a longer cord and then cast on the other. I've got shorty 6mm needles and a longer 6mm needle, obviously. Anyway, it's all very exciting. In the meantime, I also really want to, I've been really craving knitting Sunday socks again. So I have a few balls of Drops Fiesta in my online basket, and I thought I only have 1 pair of Sunday socks for myself. I thought I had at least 2, but then I realised I think I've knitted 3 pairs and I've given away 2, so I need to knit more. Yeah. Anyway, it's all very exciting. If you like knitting and wool, which if you're watching this you must. People sometimes ask me about my knitting podcast and want me to send them the link, and I say unless you like knitting and wool you're not going to find it interesting. Only a complete nerd would want to watch this. So anyway, so that's all my my knitting, my finished objects and my one work in progress. Like I say, I'm on holiday. I'm not really planning to do anything except just follow my nose wherever it leads me. We're probably going to go kayaking on Thursday with our kayaks. I have a paddleboard that I use as a kayak. It has a kayak seat. I'm not going to stand up on a paddleboard, so I've got a paddleboard that has a kayak seat on it. And I've been out a few times when my husband's been away, just when I need to go out by myself, and it's brilliant. I really like it. But my husband found this small sit-on-top kayak that he sent me a link to and offered to buy for me. And it's because I can't, the reason I got a paddleboard is because I can't carry my kayak myself. And actually even helping my husband, he does all the carrying and all the work. So anyway, he sent me a link to this sit-on-top kayak, and it's £200. I don't need it. I have a paddleboard which functions perfectly well, but when I like to set it up, so the sit-on-top kayak I could just put in the back of the car and carry it, and that's me ready to go. So when I do my paddleboard, I have to lay my paddleboard out flat at the side of the reservoir, pump it up, which takes quite a lot of effort, but I quite like doing it. And yeah, and then carrying it, there's a seat that flaps around until it's upright, and then there's I can't remember what it's called. It goes underneath the paddleboard to try to stop it from going all over the place. Can't remember what it's called. So all of that's a little bit of a faff, but so I'm very tempted by this sit on top, and it's 18 kilograms, which means I could carry it myself and just chuck it in the back of the car. Very tempting, very tempting. My husband was really keen to just order it, and I was being the voice of reason. Then a couple of days later I really wanted it, and I said I think I might just go for that. So I'll have to say it again in such a way that he says I'll just order it for you. Yeah. So there's nothing much else to reading wise. I have finally reached saturation point almost with Heated Rivalry. I think I'm beginning to go off the boil a bit, but I saw Hudson Williams was reading a Kurt Vonnegut on his social media the other day, and that made me go looking through. We have a lot of Kurt Vonnegut, so we have almost all his novels, and this is my favourite. There's something so beautiful about Kurt Vonnegut. He has such humanity and soul. I've read this, I don't know, 2 or 3 times, and I really love it. I love the humour, and I love the depth, and the, you know, it's heartbreaking in places as well. It's just an amazing novel. I really like the playfulness in Kurt Vonnegut's work. Yeah, so I thought I might go on a bit of a Kurt Vonnegut reading spree, but I can't read this book anymore without also reading this book. I think this is a really underrated book. I'm not a huge Martin Amis fan. When I did my creative writing MA at UEA, he came to do a reading, and the writers on the writing programme always came to talk to us creative writing students before the main event, and there was always something really entertaining about that. Anyway, so I'm not that keen. I've read a couple of his other books, and there's one book I read and I didn't know what the hell was meant to be going on. The Pregnant Widow. I was very bored and I didn't care about any of it. I read it to the end just because I felt like I should. Anyway, this book is not like that. This book is, I think, one of the most profound books I've ever read. This book was inspired by this book. So in this book, the section that Martin Amis said inspired him was Vonnegut's describing planes. So part of it's set in the war, and Vonnegut is describing planes flying backwards. So it's in reverse. And the point he's making is, if only the destruction that was caused could be undone and not happen in the first place. And Martin Amis ran with that idea, and so this book, it's not an easy book to begin, and I think that's what puts a lot. I've given it as a present a few times to people, and the feedback I get is often I had to give up because I couldn't get past the beginning. I didn't know what was going on. It begins with it's literally written in reverse, so it's not. So it starts off with, I moved forward out of the blackest sleep to find myself surrounded by doctors, American doctors. So this is somebody who's just died, who's, if you rewind time, he's alive again. The whole book is told in reverse chronology, and it's about the Holocaust, and there are parts of it, it's about a doctor who was a doctor in the Holocaust, and did terrible things. But in this book he does amazing things because he's undoing all of the terrible things that he's done and restoring people to health and happiness and joy. I think the book is all the more profound for that, because by showing the restoration, it somehow deepens. If Amos had just described the horror, we've all heard the horror of what happened in the death camps. If Amos had just described that, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as striking, I think. There's something about describing the restoration, and by reversing it, the kindness. The doctor's described as kind because he's restoring people to, and that, by flipping it, it just shows the horror of what actually happened. I find it really moving, and yeah. So I think this is a very underrated book, and I think it's Amos's best book. I haven't read all of them, but I love it. Anyway, so this is what I'm planning for my holiday read. I've also got this book that I have started, but I haven't, back in my Japanese translated fiction kick. So yeah, I'm going to stop soon. The only other thing, I think I'm on day 53 of my piano app, and I really love it, and I feel like I'm making really good progress in reading and playing. I love the app, Simply Piano. If you want to learn piano, and I would really recommend it. It goes at the pace you want it to go at. It's $18.50 a month, but considering that, you know, piano tutors cost more than that for half an hour, excuse me, I think that's pretty good. I'm playing every day. I'm learning and expanding every day, and yeah, I love it. I really, really, really love it. And it's opening up a whole world of sheet music to me, and it's great to be able to read and play. That's what I've been wanting for years, and this is enabling me to do that. The only other thing I wanted to show you was, I'm not going to show you it's the Ranunculus pattern, but what I'm actually showing you is this magnetic board. So I got this from Amazon, and it's just great for keeping my place, and especially when there's a chart, it's great. So I would recommend that as well. Okay, I think that's everything for today. That feels like quite a lot actually. So I'm gonna tidy up, do the dishes, try and find Pippi, and do more knitting. Cast on, have a cast on party. Okay, thanks for watching. If anybody wants to comment on anything, I'd actually really like to hear what, I forget every time to say, tell me what you're knitting, and I really like to hear what people are actually knitting on. I'd love to I don't have any real life knitting friends, so I'd love to hear what people are making and enjoying, and whether they feel ready for winter knitting now, or whether you're still in summer knitting. Please comment, let me know what you're knitting, and if you've got any advice about summer patterns or anything else to try with the Ranunculus, I'd love to hear. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.